Hey girl, Marissa here. You are listening to the Codependummy podcast. As a young woman, you have been raised, reinforced, and rewarded for putting the needs of others above your own. That is, for being codependent. Now in your 20s, you're exhausted, exasperated, and enveloped in crap relationships, especially the one you have with yourself. This podcast is to help you undo all that so you can stop playing small and start taking up space, you dummy. Let's get to it. Hey girl, hey. Welcome to Codependummy Anthem, number 1, part 2. This is Marissa Escobel, your hostess mostest, and I'm just realizing how confusing the title of this episode is, so thank you for your understanding. I asked for your votes, and my twin sister is the only one who voted, and she prefers Codependummy Anthem. What are your thoughts? Right? We have Codependummy playlist, Codependummy Anthem, Codependummy theme songs, DJ Codependummy for this segment. Feel free to share your feedback. In this new segment, which I will incorporate into the rotation of episode topics, right? We've got solo casts, interviews, the Codependummy dilemma, etc. In this segment, I pick a song that resonates with aspects of codependency. I then take said song and break it down and its quintessential codependentness. And then I try to find ways to help you stop resonating so much with the song, since you aren't being a codependummy, you're being a codependent. In last week and this week's episode, I'm analyzing Favorite Crime by Olivia Rodrigo, who I am planning to dress up as for Halloween. So stay tuned. You can follow me on Instagram at Therapy with Marissa. I'm a licensed therapist. That is my practice page. And come Halloween time, hopefully you will see me looking like Olivia, which is also my mom's name. So there you go. Before we jump back in to the song, some announcements, baby girl. First, I have to admit, I've had a hard time writing and recording these specific episodes about my ex-boyfriend. Yes, I have been in therapy for years. Yes, I am a therapist, but hot damn, this shit is painful to remember and acknowledge all the things I did just to call him mine. I know I'm doing a timeline and only did the first few months last week, right? Breaking or analyzing our relationship. And I'll only do a few more months today in this week's episode because there's oh so much material from that relationship. And it sucks to get honest with you all about it. Talked about it in therapy. Talked with my best friend Anna about it because she was there through it all. Talked with my twin sister about it. Yeah, it's been hard. So then why? Why are you doing this, Marissa? Why are you talking about this? 2 reasons, my dear sweet listener. First, the first reason I will acknowledge is somewhat selfish, since I'm hoping that by sharing this shit, it won't have so much power over me and I won't feel as ashamed. I'll admit, I did have a sense of that this week. The episode aired and I didn't die with the things I acknowledged on that episode. If you haven't listened, just go to Codependummy playlist number 1, which was aired last week. And, there's other cool podcasters and they admit to their trauma and their past and what they've done. And it's just really cool. So here I am with my teeny tiny podcast that could, and admitting some of the depths of my codependency. So there's one reason, okay, girl? And second, mostly, I am doing this. I am airing my dirty codependent laundry for you, right? As a therapist, a young woman, former codependent, sometimes still current codependent, mostly former, and fellow human with you on this planet, I know to my core how fucked up staying quiet, omitting, lying, and keeping secrets can be. Secrets literally kill people. The things I shared last week, some were secrets, as in I hadn't told anyone, while other aspects were things I mentioned or described to others, but not in as much detail. My hope is that by sharing about all the desperate, needy, self-neglectful, harmful, thirsty, and sad, pathetic things I did in that relationship, as well as other areas of my life, will help you not feel so desperate, needy, self-neglectful, harmful, thirsty, sad, shameful, pathetic, and alone with all the things you've done, my dear sweet codependent dummy. In an effort to have others love me, I have done so many things that were not loving to myself. I'm going to repeat that so it's smooth. Here we go. In an effort to have others love me, I have done so many things that were not loving to myself. In order to have others approve of me, I have acted in very unapproving ways. In order to stay in relationship with others, I have completely abandoned myself at times. Right? It's sad. It's regretful. And it happened. It happened. Okay? I think a lot of empowerment comes from naming it, claiming it, and inviting others to do the same. I don't know why. I don't know. I guess that's another mystery I will help us all solve. But how come being seen, being heard, feeling like we matter in all of our truth, why? Why is that so healing? But I've talked with a lot of people, my patients, and even inquiring patients, listeners, and they are riddled with guilt, shame, remorse, and self-blame for all these things that they did when they were like 1 and 5 and 10 and 15 and 20 and 30 and 50 and 75 years old. And they haven't told anyone, right? These secrets, arguably, are killing them. They are eating them alive. They are like just shredding their souls. And I just want to model. This is me modeling. This is what happens when you start to talk about things. They tend to lose power over you. It's not as bad as you thought. It's okay. You're human, and it's better to be seen and heard rather than keep existing as this unseen, unheard person. That's what I'm modeling, okay? And I will still love you despite what happened, despite what you did, despite what was done to you. I still love you. So if you guys want to email in some of your sad codependent secrets, please do at marissa@codependummy.com. You can give me permission to read it anonymously here or with your signature, with your name, non-anonymously. You can give me permission for that too. Or you can send an email and just say, hey, Marissa, I want you to know this so I'm not so alone in my codependency, but please don't share this with anyone. I will not share it with anyone, and I am here for you, baby girl. That is the first announcement. That was a long announcement. Second announcement. Are you doing the self-validation challenge? In the episode that aired on June 21st, listener ND, N as in Nathan, and I concluded the episode with a 30-day challenge to have a daily self-validation call with ourselves, respectively. So I am literally checking in with myself. ND is literally checking in with himself. We are both checking in with ourselves. Listen to the episode for clarity. Today, as I record, is day 18 for me. And you can start today, 30-day self-validation challenge. I have a surprise coming up around July 21st, to mark the 30 days since we started it on July 21st. Stay tuned for that. And yeah, if you haven't started, why not? And basically, you just check in with yourself. You review your day verbally, create a voice memo, and then you validate yourself and all the good things, the truthful things, the honest things, the brave, courageous things you did that day. So there's that. Announcement number 3. If you signed up for the Codependummy 101 course on my website, if you don't know what that is, it's a 10-part e-course. There is a glitch, so it hasn't been sending. For all of you who have signed up recently, I apologize, and I will email you a PDF this week. Okay? I had to say that, so I actually keep the commitment, and I will also commit to figuring it out. So there you go. Fourth, last announcement, we are growing internationally, everyone. We've added listeners recently in Argentina, Iceland, Zimbabwe, Zambia, Kenya, Malaysia, and Latvia. So to all the listeners in the US and internationally, thank you for listening, for sharing the podcast. Please, baby girl, baby boy, baby non-binary person, if you like an episode and it resonates, share it with your girl, boy, or non-binary friend so I can help all of you to stop playing small and start taking up space. My life's mission. Okay. So, Codependummy Anthem. How are we defining codependency today? With this definition, I'm currently workshopping, but this is how we're working with codependency, okay? It is, quote, a way of being where one prioritizes the feelings, wants, and needs of others in an unconscious attempt to fulfill their own feelings, wants, and needs. I'm also going to be pulling from my boy, David Malin, British psychologist, who defines dependence as an intense need in relation to human beings. Intense. Okay, we are intense. We are. Okay, codependents, we like to seem all cool and chill sometimes, but no. We are intense, we are extreme, we are lovers, fighters, self-sacrificers, doormats. We are intense, okay? And from that, we can describe you'll hear my ex-boyfriend and I as codependent since we were two individuals with an intense need in relation to each other. We also took turns prioritizing the other's feelings, wants, and needs, unconsciously hoping that we'd feel great, right? That our needs would get met too. It just didn't actually happen very often. And I'm going to put a link in the show notes for Favorite Crime by Olivia Rodrigo. Click it, give it a listen after, because I don't have permission to play it. I'm not going to be a codependummy and get a cease and desist letter. Olivia, if you want to give me permission, holler at your girl. But for now, there will be some singing. So stay tuned for that. Situation, I am applying this song to the 14-month dating relationship I had at the age of 21. Last week in the episode, I discussed the first 4-ish months. This episode, I'll be discussing the next 2. Just the next 2, since the entire relationship was intense. So I'm keeping it simple, doing chunks, since I can talk about this for days, apparently. Also, I believe that a study of the detailed, minute aspects of codependency is what will help us all heal the most, since, right, like, quote, prioritizing the needs of others. It's like, okay, that seems specific. But when you say, for example, a young girlfriend in a relationship with her boyfriend who will have sex without a condom because he doesn't want to use one. For example, a girlfriend who will go take Plan B in the morning because her boyfriend prefers to finish inside of her. Or, for example, a girlfriend who has sex whenever her boyfriend initiates, even if she doesn't really want to have sex. Those are all things that I did. And my sense is it helps us with the understanding of what prioritizing the needs of another truly looks like, right? Those minute, detailed aspects. And some context, I'm going to continue to interweave the psychological phenomena compulsion to repeat, or repetition compulsion. According to Freud, this happens when a person repeats an event or its circumstances over and over again. For example, traumatic repetitions could be seen as the result of an attempt to retrospectively master the original trauma. Okay, it is not conscious, it is not logical, it is irrational, and it don't make no sense. Okay, for example, I am not Tiger Woods' therapist, but in the HBO documentary with him, long story short, his dad was unfaithful and cheated on his mom a lot. And Tiger witnessed this often throughout his childhood, adolescence, and young adulthood. Okay. That was traumatic for him to see his father do that to his mom. Okay. Fast forward, due to his unconscious compulsion to repeat, here Tiger was cheating on his wife with multiple women. Maybe his effort to, quote, master the trauma was to cheat successfully and keep it hidden from his kids, unlike his father did to him, right? So maybe he'll be an even better cheater than his dad. Or potentially mastering the trauma could be him demonstrating, quote, control and organization when his father was reckless, disorganized in his infidelity. Okay, I'm not his therapist. This is just a theory. And it's fucked up. It's totally backwards when we do this. And yet, if you keep finding yourself in the same situation at work, in your relationship with friends, what trauma may you be trying to master, right? It's like Tiger. Like, again and again and again and again and again and again and again. Like, dude, what's going on? Where's this coming from? Okay, so there's the phenomena compulsion to repeat, repetition compulsion. And if you need to catch up on the timeline of the relationship, I'm applying Olivia's song to go ahead and listen to part 1. We're getting to the 4th or 5th month dating period in this timeline and going from there. So now we're doing the 5th and 6th month of the relationship. Let's break the lyrics down and apply them. All right. So in her song, Favorite Crime, Olivia sings, and now every time a siren sounds, I wonder if you're around, 'cause you know I'd do it all again. Let's see if I can sing it. And now every time a siren sounds, I wonder if you're around, 'cause you know I'd do it all again. It's kind of what it sounds like. So, with ex-boyfriend, he forgave me around the end of that 4th month for sleeping with someone else while he was visiting his ex-girlfriend, right? So sweet, so thoughtful of him to forgive me. This is in mid-October. So we were back on dating, but not with a lot of clarity. It was more like, hey, I was visiting her and you slept with that guy, so we can call it even. Let's keep talking. A couple weeks later, for Halloween, I dressed up as a flight attendant and he a businessman for the Mile High Club, like Britney Spears in the Toxic video. And we looked good. And I went all out again. Heels, slutty outfit, hosted him that weekend. We did ecstasy again, had so much fun. We took fun and sexy pictures with me pulling on his tie, hung out, yelled at people off our balcony since he brought a megaphone, which all of my roommates loved. And it was great. It was a great night. I think we just laid around the whole next day in our post-ecstasy and drinking Halloween adventure hangover. But it was starting to get to the point that when he would leave, I was sad and scared, semi-consciously, right? Kind of conscious, kind of not conscious. I was scared that the relationship would eventually end with him picking his ex-girlfriend, who he was still in communication with. Like, if I wasn't around him, if we didn't talk every single day, he would forget how amazing I was and would change his mind to ultimately pick her. And I kept signing up for this the whole time, right? From late September to now early November, my actions to him communicated and implied this is totally acceptable. Keep on talking to her, keep on having sex with me. I'm cool with this. Right? And it's like, who would do that? A codependent dummy like me who had an intense need in relation to ex-boyfriend. I'm calling him ex-boyfriend. That is his name, right? So my compulsion to repeat my trauma, being the loser in comparison to my beautiful twin sister, made all of this so familiar, so comfortable, and so expected. And maybe I was trying to master my earlier traumas by winning this time, right? Maybe I would be chosen. Maybe I would be selected instead of the other girl this one time. In my attempt to overcome the trauma, I just kept staying in the relationship that repeated it and made me feel down because he wasn't ever choosing. Or he'd choose me for a weekend and then he'd leave and then I was scared. So it took what it took, right? Mind you, this entire time, since we started dating in June, I was talking to my best friends, roommates, coworkers, classmates, sisters, parents, random ass girls in the bathroom when I was at a party, right? Though selecting how much detail I wanted to share with each of them. And with the encouragement and problem solving strategies bestowed to me by my therapist and all those other people, I put my foot down after Halloween, right? I think we might have hung out like one more weekend and I might have felt really sad after because this ongoing audition to be his girlfriend, right? It's like The Bachelor. It was like really starting to wear on me. So I drew a boundary. It's either her or me, ex-boyfriend. I communicated this to him via a letter that I wrote after a tear-ridden therapy session, a tear-ridden exercise writing this letter, and I tearfully read it to him aloud on the phone. Looking back, I appreciated the support from my therapist to put my foot down, but I also wish my therapist had asked me in that session, Marissa, why are you continuing to remain in a relationship where you are in constant competition with another? What about your past makes us feel familiar? Just curious. Okay, but I digress. So I wrote him the letter. I read it aloud to him. And I communicated. I can't keep doing this anymore. It's not fair to me. It's not fair to her. And it's not fair to you. You need to decide, ex-boyfriend. Until you do, I will not be talking to you. Please don't call me or text me until you have made your decision. Right? Like the ovaries to do that. Good job, Marissa, at 20, 21 years old. So I remember he agreed, but it was also like, oh, like, Mari, why? Like, I get it, and also I don't get it, and it's going to be hard. I guess I'm not going to come to that next event. I invited him to an event maybe the next week. And yeah, I mean, that was hard. That was really hard. And I remember crying, cried myself to sleep, and write this lyric. And now every time a siren sounds, I wonder if you're around. Right after that call, every time a siren, quote unquote, sounded, meaning every time my phone pinged, I hoped it was him. Every time I'd log on to Facebook and see a new notification, I'd hope it was him changing his relationship status to in a relationship with Marissa Escobar, right? When my roommates and I had our annual Friendsgiving, that was the event that I had invited him to the next week or so, I wished and hoped that he'd show up in a romantic gesture and pledge his undying love for me, right? I was wondering if he was around all the freaking time. I checked my phone constantly. I thought about him constantly. Oh man, I was just, yeah, it was rough. And right, this part, because he, ex-boyfriend, because I would do it all again. And yes, honestly, like sign me up. I will meet you at a party like we met. I will have a one night stand with you like we did. I will go to a rave dressed like Lady Gaga. I will sacrifice my weekends as a fourth year in Santa Barbara to come visit you. And I will tolerate the hurt, rejection, suffering, pain of being in a relationship with someone who isn't sure he wants to be with me or with another girl. Like, yep, because I do it all again. So if you're around, if there is a siren sounding and you're in my vicinity and proximity, let's hang out. I'd still be in the relationship. I think at the time during the break, I regretted drawing the boundary, right? Like, God, why did I listen to my dad and my therapist and my friends and my coworkers anyway? What do they know? I should have just stayed with him as things were, because missing him and fearing he'd ultimately pick her, it was brutal. And yeah, I was not like, no criticism, no negativity, no disdain, no hard feelings towards him. I would do it all again. Like if he said, Marissa, I pick you, I'd be like, yes. Like I wouldn't have thought critically about what we had been through, the things he had done, the things he had said and not said thus far. I would not have taken that into consideration. Like, let's just be together. You pick me. Great. Okay. Next lyric. Olivia sings, "Look what we became. Look what we became." So here I was, mid-November, probably hadn't talked with him for a week. It was probably just a week, which felt like an eternity to this codependummy. And I remember I got dressed up. I looked super fine for the Friendsgiving my roommates and I had that he had been invited to. And then I withdrew his invitation. But I got dressed up, not for my friends, not for my roommates, not even for other guys at the party. I wore a cute black dress for the pictures that we would take. We would then post and we would put up in full view for ex-boyfriend to see, right? I didn't take pictures to document memories with my friends. I took pictures to show him, A, what a good time I was having without him, B, how much of a good time he could have been having with me if he would pick me finally. And C, I was showing him how lovable, desirable, and choosable I was, right? Pick me, damn it, pick me. So, I mean, do you do that too, codependummy? I feel like I'm not as active on social media, and you guys can see that from my, you know, I don't even know how much I post on Instagram now. I'm not really on Facebook. I'm trying, okay, baby girl, but definitely in the past and still currently, I notice myself having an experience even before the experience and, right, fortune telling myself and picturing just how cute the pictures from this event are going to be, and all the likes, all the comments, all the love I'm going to get. Right? I don't post just to post. I definitely didn't when I was with him. And yeah, I've been a little codependent on social media too. So we'll talk about in a future episode. I digress. But also, like, girl, you resonate. You know you resonate. You know you take pictures and post. So whoever can see it, right? Whoever you're like having this intense need in relation to. So lots of pictures, right? Adorable pictures, hot pictures. And my roommates, all of these guests, right? I don't even know how many people we had. Maybe 20, 30, 20 something people. I mean, our age. So 20 to 30, 20 something year olds. And yeah, we were having a good time. And I proceeded to emotionally crawl back into my bedroom. I wasn't actually crawling, but emotionally, I like crawled back into my bedroom. I closed the door and locked the door. I'm in this hot little black dress, and I proceeded to cry the remainder of the evening. I remember calling my twin sister. I was bawling. I didn't want to be at the party. I didn't want to not be talking to him. I didn't want to wait. I didn't want to keep the boundary. I just wanted him. I had, like Malin has suggested, an intense need for him. Right? Look what we became. Look what we became. Right? Me sobbing on the floor of my tiny room, which was cliffside overlooking the ocean, while 30 people are outside, including my best friend, roommates, and cute single guys. And I am on the floor in my room, missing a boy who never fully committed to me, despite all the things I did those first 3 to 4 months of the relationship. Right? Just the saddest, thirstiest, down, blue, depressed, lonely girl in the world feeling. Just picture me, you guys. Just picture the saddest, most pathetic, like hot girl fall in my like skimpy little black dress. Hair did, makeup did, everything did. And like it was just all to take pictures to post on Facebook. I don't think Instagram was even alive, or it might have been alive, but I didn't know about it yet. For him to see, to then realize how lovable and worthy and choosable I was, snap out of whatever, dream or fantasy he was in, and just drive down and pick me, right? Just sobbing on the floor because that wasn't happening. What comes up for you? What's your saddest, thirstiest, down, blue, depressed, lonely girl moment? I'm curious. And no, you are not alone in that desperation. Right? So just picture. Oh, just so sad. So sad. And yet, I just missed him and I wanted him, and I woke up the next day. I can't remember specifically, but just continuing to long, yearn, pine for him. So what we became, look what we became. Super dysfunctional. We were already dysfunctional, right? Like, he's talking to his ex-girlfriend. I'm having sex with a random ass guy the weekend that he goes to visit his ex-girlfriend. Like, no trust, no commitment. We are both not doing well in relation with each other. And I cried my eyes out that night, kept on keeping on. And I think after we had the call where I drew the boundary, he did text me a few times, like a heart here, miss you there. But I stayed strong despite the almost like addiction like want, right? That addiction like desire I had for him to choose me. And then, as I was going to bed one evening later that week, right? We had Friendsgiving and then we had actual Thanksgiving in close proximity. So, sometime in that interim, right? Maybe it's been a week and 3 days, maybe it's been 10 days total. I was laying in bed and I had my phone up with the screen like visible. I think, honestly, if I think back, it was this semi-conscious hoping that, right, the sound's off, okay? Can't have the sound on, or that's desperate and needy and stupid. But I think I kept it up in the event that maybe I'd notice some light flickering. And lo and behold, I did, right? So I'm laying in bed. I notice my LG phone with the keyboard flickering, and it was him. It was him. And it was him calling me, right? It wasn't a heart. It wasn't a miss you. It was a call. I remember, right? This was the conversation. Hello? Hey, I'm outside. What? I'm outside in your driveway. I had to see you. Can you come out? And I mean, talk about a codependummy's fantasy coming true, right? Here's the romantic gesture. It's probably like 12:30 in the morning. Haven't talked with him for 10 days. I have stayed strong in my boundary on my end. I have fought the good fight in not responding to him. And in my pajamas, I proceeded to walk out and sit in his car. Right? And I just remember it was like, hey, he's like, hey, what are you doing here? And right, just exactly what my codependummy heart wanted to hear. He's like, I've just been missing you and want to see you. I can't keep doing this version. Yeah. He said, I don't know why you can't talk to me. This is hard. And I want to, like, can I come inside? I remember clarifying somewhat, right? I say clarifying somewhat because it was vague and gray. But I asked, are you still talking to her? Yes, but I'm figuring it out. Right? Like, I think, yeah, I mean, he missed me. He wanted to see me. That's what he kept reiterating. So I've talked about this in an earlier episode, right? Being so dependent on others in a multitude of ways. In one way, I recall this so clearly. I'm sitting in his passenger seat, arguably haven't talked with him for 10 days. And I remember saying aloud, I wish my therapist or my dad were here to help me. I literally, like, end quote, but I literally could not rely on myself to construct the boundary and maintain it. I could not rely on myself, right? I wrote this letter and now I need to say no until you're decided you cannot come in. I could not do that. And I wish for my dad or my therapist to be available to support me in getting out of his car, walking in by myself, and maintaining that boundary at 12:30 in the morning. Like, can I just get a backbone on speed dial? Because I don't have one. So I remember saying this out loud, and I believe we talked for several more minutes in the car. I think he did allude to the fact that I looked so cute in the Friendsgiving pictures and he missed me so much. So that was like, yes, the pictures worked. Facebook works. And also, I think I'd gone camping. I think I'd gone camping with some of my roommates and my twin sister during that time. And it was more of the same, like, took cute pictures, only posted cute pictures because I want him to see how fun and adventurous I was. And he alluded to that too. So it's like, yes, 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 he misses me. He's missing me. So my plan was kind of working and having him pick me, but he hadn't ultimately picked me. This was a I couldn't wait to see you, not a I choose you midnight visit. I ended up letting him in. We spooned in my teeny tiny twin bed. We talked for a little while longer. And then we had sex. Codependent, I'll put your needs above my own in hopes it will eventually fulfill my own needs too. Sex. I honestly didn't want to have sex, and it was really fast. Like, I remember we were spooning, talking, canoodling, and then, like, whoop, there it is. And did I say anything? No, right? I don't say things. I'm a codependummy, right? Look what we became. Boundary violators, addicts, dependents, codependent, having sex while we are not committed to each other, while he's still in contact with his ex-girlfriend, trying to decide between her and me, and my boundary that I established thanks to my letter being completely ignored by him and also by me. I was ignoring my boundary. He was not holding a gun to my head. He did not say, if you don't let me in, say sayonara to me. Like he didn't. I was acting like it, but he violated and ignored the boundary, and I violated and ignored my boundary too. And look at him. I mean, what an intense need in relation he had for me, right? He's getting off the phone with me after I've made this boundary, right? Having to really think about what he's doing. It's like, fuck. Marissa just said I have to decide. Fuck. And I don't know, he's a guy, but I just picture him in his more private moments, like checking his phone repeatedly, checking his Facebook, and stalking me, hoping I'll light up his phone in the dark, hoping I'll reply to him. And he drove an hour and a half that night. He drove 90 minutes to hope that, A, I would answer my phone. What if I was sleeping? What if I hadn't had the light on? Actually, I know what happened. That'll be in another episode to be revealed. So I know what would happen, but right, he was hoping I would answer my phone. B, he's hoping I hadn't forgotten about him. C, that I hadn't started dating someone else in the past 10 days who may be in my bed. And D, he was hoping that I would welcome him in. I am not super clear on his trauma. I'm not, right? But like Tiger Woods, I'm just making a theory, hypothesis that maybe he was always in the middle of his parents and needing to choose sides, right? Maybe he needed to master that. It's like, why are you doing this? Like, why are you talking to your ex-girlfriend? And why are you talking to this girl? Like, just keep dating your ex-girlfriend if you've been dating her this long, or just break up with your ex-girlfriend. It evidently has not worked out. This girl seems really cool. Like, why are you continuing to persist in this polygamous, bachelor-esque relationship, ex-boyfriend? Or, maybe he felt rejected by both of his parents. So having two girls competing with him, right? He could master feeling rejected. Who knows? Okay, I'm just throwing it out there. But there's something in him too that's driving this, right? Just compulsion to keep repeating the same thing, right? So we were both so desperate, so reckless, impulsive, and sad. And we kept signing up for each other and this toxic, dysfunctional, messy, confusing, non-committed relationship over and over again. So look what we became. Just thinking about that night, and he left. I built the boundary again. I was like, really, like, until you decide, I don't want to talk to you. So we had this boundary violation, and then I, snapped back to the old boundary. So it's not like anything really changed. We just were more confused and desperate and sad and needy than before. Right? So we're going to pause there with analyzing the relationship. And I want to conclude with reviewing a different definition of compulsion to repeat. The tendency of an individual to expose herself, again and again to a distressing or painful situation, although she has forgotten the origins of the compulsion. Okay? In therapy and in life, okay? In life, to overcome the compulsion to repeat, baby girl, it involves an effort to break the cycle of repetition by helping yourself become conscious of it. You process the origin, right? The original trauma, so you don't have to keep doing the same thing over and over and over again. I'm heartbroken. I'm miserable. I'm doing things I said I wasn't going to do in hopes that he picks me. I'm lonely, and I'm trying to prove to everyone just how lovable and worthy I am, right? Trying to prove, especially to him, how lovable and worthy I am in comparison to her, which was oh so familiar to my past and feeling like I was always being compared to my twin. Right? So many times growing up, I concluded I was less worthy, less lovable, less attractive, less athletic, which I concluded that and other people concluded that. I remember I didn't even want to introduce, I actually remember this while I was writing. I didn't want to introduce ex-boyfriend to my twin sister since I worried he would dump me and fall in love with her. I honestly felt like I was a poor man's twin sister. I was a poor man's version of my twin sister. So there I was, signing up, trying to prove I was lovable and worthy in comparison to another. For you, what is so familiar in the codependent relationships you are in now to your past? What are you trying to master? Next week, we will conclude analyzing Olivia's song and the last happenings of the first 6 months of this relationship. I can't like you guys, like it's such good material. There's so much. So stay tuned for, the whole story. But next week, last part of Olivia's song applied to the 6th month of the relationship. And I will see you there. This is Marissa Escobar, your hostess mostest. Remember, baby girl, if you are feeling unseen, I see you. If you are feeling unheard, I hear you. And if you think that you don't matter, know that you matter to me. I want you to go out there so you can stop playing small and start taking up space, you dummy. Thank you for listening. I will see you next week.
You're still here? Just kidding. Girl, this is not therapy and I'm not your therapist, okay? This podcast is designed to provide accurate and authoritative information in regards to the subject matter covered. It is given with the understanding that neither the host the publisher, or the guests are rendering any legal, clinical, or other professional information. If you want or need a professional, you should find one.